All right, let's jump right into a really fun thought experiment. What if you had 4 arms? I know, it sounds like pure science fiction, right? But think about it. That one little change to our bodies could literally reshape everything we know. Our biology, our society, even the very chair you're sitting in right now. So let's dive in and see just how deep this rabbit hole goes.
So yeah, that's the big one. What if, way back in our evolutionary past, we took a different path? What if we ended up with 6 limbs instead of 4? And look, this is way more than just a cool sci-fi idea. It's a question that actually starts to unravel the very fabric of who we are.
Because the consequences, they are anything but simple. This isn't just about, being able to carry more groceries. No, it's about a massive ripple effect. A single change that starts with our bodies, then washes over our culture, and finally completely remakes the entire world we've built around ourselves. Okay, so let's start with that first ripple, the most obvious one, our biology. I mean, before we can even get into society or technology, we have to ask a pretty basic question. How would a body like this even work?
Our current 2-arm, 2-leg setup, it's a masterpiece of efficiency. It's what freed up our hands for tool use and made us amazing long-distance runners. But a 6-limbed human? That's a whole different ballgame. It's a fascinating trade-off. Just imagine the multitasking. 4 arms doing totally different complex things all at once, with a foundation of incredible stability and power. It's kind of mind-boggling.
But, of course, that kind of power comes with a huge price tag. We already pay for walking upright with our fragile spines and chronic back pain, right? Now, just try to imagine the sheer skeletal strain of supporting 2 more fully functional arms. And the energy cost, it would be astronomical. You need a massive amount of calories every single day just to function.
And honestly, the biggest cost isn't even physical. It's mental. It all comes down to something called neural load. Think about it. Coordinating our 2 arms is already a pretty complex job for our brain. But trying to coordinate 4 arms all moving independently, that would require a complete neurological overhaul. Our brains would have to be wired in a fundamentally different way.
In fact, to put a number on it, some models suggest the brain's energy use could skyrocket by as much as 75% just to manage the extra limbs. That's a massive, massive biological investment before you've even lifted a single extra finger.
Okay, so let's just pretend we could somehow pay those huge biological costs. Where does that ripple go next? Well, it crashes right into society, because a different kind of body means a totally different way of living together.
Our culture would be almost unrecognizable. Just imagine, communication wouldn't just be words, it'd be this complex dance of 4-arm gestures. Sports would probably look more like 3D chess than football, requiring almost godlike coordination. An artist could sculpt something from all sides at once. And yeah, how would you even begin to define personal space?
And just bring it down to a really personal level for a second. How do you greet someone? Is it a 2-handed handshake, a 4-handed one? What does a hug even feel like? How in the world would you dance with someone when you've got 6 limbs to coordinate? The most basic, simple human interactions would be completely transformed.
There's this great hypothetical quote that just captures the whole philosophical shift perfectly. It goes, "With 6 limbs, every person becomes an orchestra. With 2, we are soloists seeking a duet." Isn't that great? Our 2-armed life really emphasizes cooperation, right? We need each other. But a 6-limbed person, they're an orchestra all by themselves. It changes the very definition of what it means to be an individual.
And that brings us to the third and, honestly, the biggest ripple of all. If you fundamentally change the human body, the user for every tool and every space we have, then you have to change everything else. Our entire engineered world would become obsolete. Overnight.
Seriously, just look around you right now. Your phone, your coffee mug, the chair you're in, the door to the room. Every single object you see is built on one unspoken fundamental assumption, that the person using it has 2 hands.
And suddenly, our whole world just breaks. Think about driving a car. A steering wheel is made for 2 hands. What would a 4-handed cockpit even look like? Joysticks, multiple wheels, who knows?
Or what about typing on a keyboard? Ours is designed for 10 fingers. Would theirs be split into 4 different pads? Or would they just interact with computers in some way that we can't even begin to imagine?
And it goes all the way down to the simplest thing imaginable, a chair. It would have to be wider, the back would have to be totally redesigned for another set of shoulders and arms. From the most complex machine to the simplest piece of furniture, absolutely nothing
would be untouched.
Okay, let's just take a simple door and break it down. A doorknob is made for one free hand, right? But a four-armed person might be carrying things with their other three arms. So what's the solution? Well, maybe some kind of weird multi-latch system, but honestly, it's way more likely that sliding or automatic doors would just become the normal universal standard. And of course, the doorway itself would have to be wider. A total redesign for one of the simplest things we use every day.
So, what's the point of all this speculation? Well, this thought experiment isn't really just about imagining some strange sci-fi world. It's about turning a mirror back on our own world and really truly appreciating the incredible legacy of our own unique anatomy.
And here's the core insight, and it's a really powerful one. We tend to think that our greatest tools are the ones made by our hands.
But the truth is, our greatest tools are actually the ones made for them. Our entire world isn't just built by our two hands, it's a giant monument built for our two hands. Our very anatomy is the secret blueprint for all of human ingenuity.
Think about it. Having just two arms forced us to focus, to perfect one tool at a time. It made us rely on each other, which forced the social cooperation that built entire civilizations. It gave us the simple, profound ability to carry our children or food or resources for miles and miles. Our specific body plan is the invisible foundation beneath everything we've ever achieved.
And that right there is the ultimate takeaway. Having only two arms was never a weakness. In fact, you could argue that very limitation is what forced us to become smarter, more cooperative, and more creative. Our limitations defined our genius.
So, the next time you pick up your phone or just walk through a doorway, take a second to remember. This entire world was built for the body you have right now. Which leaves us with one last question to chew on. Our anatomy shaped our world. So how does your body shape yours?